Good afternoon, everybody. Some of you might have seen this yesterday because I presented a crunched version of this, but today I'm going to be going through it in detail. Before that, let me just give you a perspective about Havas. At Havas, and it is H silent, Havas, because it's a French organization and not what you think it means in Hindi. Meaningfulness is something that is at the core of everything. And we speak about meaningfulness for our employees, for our clients, for our brands, for our media. And this whole ethos about meaningfulness has come over a period of a decade and more, because we have invested in a very unique research called Meaningful Brands Research for the last 13 years. And that tells us why brands and consumers are not talking to each other. Or the larger way of looking at it is, we came to know that close to about 80% of the brands could disappear tomorrow and consumers would not even care. And this is a statistics of about 13 years back. And imagine putting in zillions of dollars behind advertising and promotions, and still not having the consumers connect with the brand. So that's what made us delve into it a little more deeper. And why is this showing 10? I think I have 30 minutes, so please can you change this? So delve deeper and see why and what essentially is meaningfulness. And we've been doing this research for the last 13 years. I'll take you through this whole concept in more detail and what it means. As I said, not 13, actually 15 years. In India it is 13 years, but globally we've been doing it for 15 years. And it explores the proprietary metrics of brand strength of business. According to us, the most important metrics of brand strength is meaningfulness. It's not about awareness, consideration, because meaningfulness is something that comes even before that. And that's the reason why we do or believe this research, in this research and this concept and this philosophy. So it's a fairly large research that happens. So this year, which is 2022 end, is when this happened. 91,000 people were interviewed. In India, 7,000 plus. So it's a huge research. Close to about 1,300 plus brands at a global level. In India, about 155 brands. And every year we keep increasing the brands because it's something that is not paid for by clients. So we have to invest in it. Close to about 15 categories today in India. So it will not have all the brands and will not have all the categories, but still gives you guidance on where we are going. Obviously, we do it for those categories where we have our clients or where we have our potential clients, and every year we keep on adding to it. So what is meaningfulness? If you were to define meaningfulness for a brand, or if a consumer interacts with a brand, what are the key expectations that a consumer has from a brand? Obviously, in earlier days, it was about functional equity. You know, if you're buying a car, you're expecting it to do the function of the car, which is taking you from point A to point B, not breaking down, giving you a mileage, efficiency, all those things, which is the functional equity, which still remains important, because if you're buying a brand, functional equity is critical because you're buying it for that. Then came the importance of personal equity. Is that brand giving me happiness? Is that brand giving me satisfaction? Is it making me feel proud? Is it making me feel happy? All those slightly higher level, I would say, emotions that were there. And these became important for brands. So, for example, soaps were sold on, aspirations. So obviously there was a lot of personal equity that came in over there. Every person who used Lux thought that she would aspire to, be a beauty queen. So they were selling beauty, they were not selling a soap at that point in time. And then finally, over the years, as information grew, as consumers became more aware, a third and a very important thing, which was spoken about even today in the morning in one of the panels, collective equity. What are the company initiatives, behaviors, actions that respond and connect at a social and cultural level? Consumers are very, very smart. They want to know, is the company transparent? Is the company ethical? Are they using the right methods? These have also become important. And we realize that consumers are ready to pay more for a brand which has a better collective equity. So they don't want to buy a brand which does not have a good collective equity. So these are the three parameters on which meaningfulness is evaluated. More about it as we go along. Functional, measure the, so we look at evaluate the functional and personal and collective aspects of the brand. We measure the gap between the people expectation and where the brand is. And also we identify the greatest areas of opportunity for brands. So, this is what the consumer is expecting and this is where you are low. So you can increase your indexes on this specific aspect. What comes out of the study is meaningful brand index called MBI and also a meaningful score. It's a, obviously a detailed mathematical solution that comes out of it. So there's a lot of math that goes behind it. But what we are interested is not math, but what it tells you as marketeers and as brand custodians. Last year when we did this research, after a gap of 1 year because of COVID, what came out was that consumers they were cynical, very, very cynical about brands. And that was coming out because of the fact that 2 years they had been, they had seen the worst times of their lives. And they were very, very critical of the brands. This year, there is a very different, I would say, trend that we are seeing, which is a Me-conomy trend, and I'll tell you more about it as we go forward. Every year when we do this research, we realize that trends are changing because it's not that one brand which is meaningful will continue to be meaningful over years. There are changes that happen and not just societal changes, but also geopolitical changes that happen because of which things change, brands change, and also the consumer's perspective about brands change. No matter where you look, people feel that life is becoming more challenging. That's clearly coming out. And this is India data. I'm not talking about global data. This is clearly India data that I spoke about. And it's obvious because 43% of the people who were interviewed, they are saying the world is going in the wrong direction at a global level. And which could be a result of many things that are happening. Some of them are over here, COVID recovery, government's response to COVID. It could be climate change. We're all seeing, climate hazards happening every second day in our country itself. Social inequality, Ukrainian war, which has been there and doesn't seem to be ending. And inflation, recession, which has already started in the Western markets. Thankfully, India is not so bad. So, and there are so many geopolitical tensions. So the consumers are worried that we are all going in the wrong direction. And why is it important for the brand? Because this is what makes them make a decision on buying a brand. Because finally, it's the same mind which is thinking about these things and also thinking about which brand to buy. The climate crisis has now been acknowledged globally as the most important issue that we face. So, it is becoming very clear everywhere across the world, and in India, people think this is how they feel about it. But people are also reporting feeling the effects of crisis within their day-to-day lives. It's not just about the fact that there is a climate crisis, but it is affecting their lives. And this is all coming out of the survey. 1 in 4 people report being personally affected by at least one crisis on an everyday level. So one of these crises, whether it's a political crisis, personal crisis, and I'm sure you'll agree with it because that's where we are heading. 62% of those personally affected by crisis feel it is impacting them in a multitude of ways. So we are living in a difficult world, and obviously these things never came up before the COVID or the pandemic. These are all new trends that we are seeing now, and we know the reasons for these trends. After COVID, health crisis has become significantly important, and there is no surprise on that because we all realize that health is wealth when COVID first wave and most importantly second wave happened. And as a result of all that, people don't think business is people don't think businesses are doing enough to help. And this is the cynicism that I was talking about. They feel that businesses should help more, they should do more. 58% don't think companies, brands are being transparent about their commitments and promises. In the morning we were talking about, tokenism, purposeful communication, and you're just taking a purposeful route and just doing a token communication around it. So consumers are aware of that. Are you really doing something, or are you just ticking the box over there saying that I'm also in the fray of doing something for the society? 65% are tired of brands pretending they want to help society when they just want to make money. So they're very clear. Many times brands do it. They try to camouflage a regular communication in a more meaningful way, when finally the result of all that is making money. Yes, they have to make money, but then that should not be the only objective. Consumers are trying to see if those meaningful or purposeful communications are really valid or not. And this is important. An active choice architecture is emerging. Very, very active choice architecture. 67% prefer to buy from companies with a reputation for having purpose other than just profits. So this is what was coming in the morning. People are ready to buy. At the same time, they are very ROI driven. But if they know that a company has a reputation of being purposeful and not just profitable, they are ready to pay more. They're really ready to buy from those companies. 68% will stop buying from companies that do not respect planet or society. Again, very big numbers, right? We can question the number. 68 can be 67, 65, all those things. But the point is, direction is very clear. It's 60% plus who are saying that they'll stop buying from companies if they do not respect the planet. And that's the reason why we are talking about green, eco, and every company in the morning was talking about the initiatives they are taking in this domain. And that's clearly reflecting over here. Most brands are just not measuring up according to the consumers. This is their feeling, not our feeling. This is the feeling that the consumers have. And in India today, I was talking about 73% of the brands could disappear and consumers would not care. This is what our data says. Again, I will put an asterisk over here because it does not capture all the brands in India. It's impossible to capture all the brands, right? But the number of brands that we have captured, which obviously is a good, I would say, assessment or a representation of the market. Sorry. We feel that consumers are clearly telling us that do something about the way you communicate to us, or not just communicate, but the way you connect with us. Otherwise, we'll stop buying you. However, there are some brands which are still being meaningful, and those meaningful brands, we try to assess them. It's not just that the meaningful brands are doing well on the meaningful brand index. Actually, if you compare the meaningful brands, more meaningful brands to the regular brands or the less meaningful brands, they are performing higher on all the marketing KPIs. So a more meaningful brand, overall impressions, which is your awareness, advocacy, premium price, a purchase intent, repurchase intent. On all these parameters, a more meaningful brand is performing significantly better. And this is out of the maths that's behind all the data that the data that I shared with you. In terms of the share of wallet, again, a more meaningful brand has a much higher share of wallet. Again, very logical, but then this is data that is giving you a clear direction that meaningfulness is not just about feeling good and having a meaningful brand index for a brand, but it is resulting in clear results on your brand KPIs, on share of wallet, and most importantly, on the value that the brand is delivering to its shareholders. So meaningful brands are performing significantly better than the non-meaningful brands in the share market. So that's something, and this is a global trend. This particular data is specifically for India. So this is something that we have seen across the world, which makes us feel that obviously there's a logic to why we call a brand, why meaningfulness is important for a brand. It could be called something else, but in Havas we call it meaningfulness. What it means to be a meaningful brand in 2023, because 2023 is a very unique year. We've just come out of COVID. And that's where Me-conomy, where purpose is getting personal. So what it means is that, I told you about the three, core verticals that are there, the functional benefits, the personal benefits, and the collective benefits. Now, there was a time when collective benefits were becoming very, very important. And over the years, when suddenly the COVID happened and people realized that there is a health crisis, they are becoming more important. And if they don't exist, what is the point of, the brands being there? The personal aspects of the brand are becoming more important. And that's why we are saying that it's becoming a me-conomy. People are turning inwards because of the COVID, because of the way things have developed over a period of time. Today, people are connecting the brand's sustainable behavior with their own quality of life. So that's very important. So on one hand, they are evaluating the brand, and on the other hand, they are evaluating or they're comparing it to their own quality of life. These are some of the collective attributes which are ranking on the quality of life front. So, invest in innovative, sustainable, and ethical solution. This is, the consumer says that, this is important for me if the brand invests in innovative, sustainable, and ethical solution. It's important for me if the brand supports healthy living and promotes well-being. It's important for me if the brand offers sustainable brands and products. It promotes and inspires sustainable, responsible behaviors and consumption. It is committed to making product services more sustainable. So again, sustainability is coming out very clearly over here. But this is more towards their own quality of life. That's the difference. They also expect brands to really help with their health and well-being, whether it's physical, mental, and spiritual. 69% believe that companies and brands should be doing more to improve and support my health and my well-being. Because obviously they've gone through a bad time, a bad patch, and they feel that brands have a responsibility to improve and support their health and well-being. So it's not just, these are the general trends that are coming out from there. And look to the brands to bring optimism and energy into their lives, because there's a lot of pessimism that has happened in the last few years. They look forward to brands that bring in optimism and positivity and energy into their lives. So helps me feel energized and live is the number 2 attribute across all pillars to contribute to our quality of life. So these are the things that they want from a brand. Now, why are these important? Because all this is what will make the communication for the brand. Finally, the consumer is going to be communicating with the brand or understanding the brand through the communication that we create, the marketing people create, or the advertising agencies create. And that's the reason why all these indices are important. Today's most meaningful brands perform 66% better on attributes than the average brand. So that's clearly showing you that if it is a meaningful brand, its performance on attributes is significantly better than the rest of them. There is a small section on Gen Z. I don't want to go into it detail because Gen Zs are it's a very wide and a very detailed topic in itself. But we also looked about optimism and happiness and realized that the Gen Zs, they claim to be the happiest, obviously because they are in that phase of life. 71% claim to be 71% of the Gen Z said they are happy and they are optimistic. 70% of them said this. 54% said they are the most willing to ask brands to put their needs first. So 54% agree that companies, brands should satisfy my individual needs, and that's what is important first before taking a wider role in the society. So that's the me-conomy, right? Before you start talking about saving the planet, you talk about satisfying my individual needs. So that's the difference that we have seen over the years. While it was tilting towards collective benefits, now it started coming back to more personal benefits and even functional benefits in certain cases. I just want to come in. Yeah. This is a very provocative slide, and I want you to spend some time on it. I'm not giving you the entire data, but over the years, we did this research. We realized that different brands score differently on the meaningfulness scale. In 2010, obviously there was Google. It's not that Google was not there, and all these tech companies are not there, but I'm sure they were not as relevant and as important in our lives as they are today. And the first year, LIC came out to be the most meaningful brand in India, and everybody started questioning it globally because insurance as a brand is not seen as a meaningful brand, because it's a very transactional brand. Then we looked at the data, spoke to the consumers once again, and realized that in India, LIC is not an insurance brand. It's it's a life product. It's the way of life, and it's so meaningful to consumers that they feel that it's the most meaningful brand. As we progressed, as the technology overtook our lives, Google became the number one brand. And I'm 100% sure, and if somebody disagrees, please raise your hand. You would have used Google today at least 10 times. And if tomorrow suddenly you realize Google does not exist, or none of the Google products exist, I'm sure you're going to be shocked, and it's going to be very, very difficult for you to navigate life. Which is very clearly being seen over here, because that's what it is showing. People cannot live without Google. It's become such an important and integral part of their lives. And this is India data. Globally, yes, Google is still number one. See, in 2019, WhatsApp was number 2, YouTube, Amul, Amazon. And in 2023, you suddenly see Amazon coming from number 5 to number 2. While they tell us that you should not be comparing the different years' data because some of the parameters do change. But for the sake of generic comparison, why do you think Amazon came from number 5 to number 2? Anybody? Any guesses? Absolutely. Because of COVID, people were buying from home. And for them, suddenly, more than WhatsApp, Amazon became a more meaningful brand. And this, why I'm showing you this is because this tells us that this research that we are doing is actually showing you a correct guidance. WhatsApp went down. Why? Because between 2019 and 23, there was a lot of negative news of WhatsApp spreading negative news, bad news, creating chaos, all those things. Still, it's very important for us. Flipkart came in over there. Flipkart was not in top 5. Again, because of COVID. Because Amazon came in over here, Flipkart would come in. There are many, many cuts. So, there are cuts by age groups, there are cuts by SECs. So, you'll realize that the numbers would change if the cuts are different. Quickly, I'll take you through some of the categories that we have analyzed, not all of them. But this is the restaurant category. So, this is latest data, and here you also see the cuts by the various age groups. So Domino's is the most meaningful brand, followed by McDonald's, Pizza Hut, KFC, Burger King. Of course, it does not take into account all the brands. There are many more brands. But the ones that are there, they have been compared. What you see below that 75, 74, 72, that's the meaningful brand index that I was talking about, MBI. And for our clients, we actually take MBI as one of our KPIs. So we tell them that, if you work with us, we will increase your MBI from A to B. And for doing that, you will have to invest in the right media, meaningful communication, and take into account all the learnings that we've just been speaking about. In the consumer durable category, Samsung followed by LG, Voltas Beko. So that's how it stacks up. But again, this is the split by income. It is different when it comes to the various income groups. Yesterday, I was asking people in the panel which is the most meaningful brands, and many people said Apple. So Apple, of course, is one of the leading meaningful brands, not coming in the top 5, but it is still one of the most meaningful brands, and many brands aspire to be an Apple. Among the auto category, Tata Motors, Maruti, Hyundai, Kia, Jeep. Again, it is not covering all the brands. So the ones that we have covered is what we are seeing over here. Delivery platforms, Big Basket, followed by Swiggy, Instamart, Blinkit, Zepto, Super Daily. On the home care, Harpic. So, this is what essentially it gives you. It gives you a lot of data, and why I'm showing you this is because if you want more information, you can go outside. There is a Havas booth. You can scan and download the details of this presentation from there. Much more than what I can share with you over here. Entertainment category, which became very important during COVID, and it's become and it has still stayed with us. Many of us were not into OTT. Connected TVs were not so important, but suddenly they have become very important. Why? Because over the last 3 years, your consumption behavior has suddenly changed. You're watching all of these on a large TV or on your smaller screens as well. So that's where Prime Video, followed by Disney Hotstar, followed by Netflix, Z5, Lionsgate. Again, it does not capture all the OTTs, but the ones that we have still gives you a sense of how it is. Internet and media company goes without saying. The first is Google, YouTube, WhatsApp, and the other usual suspects that one would have. So that was about the brands. Now, if you as a brand have to grow in this me economy that I just spoke about, from the research that we have done, we've identified 8 ways that businesses and brands can take directions, or probably they need to behave in a particular way to become more meaningful to the consumers. Because we feel becoming meaningful is a requirement. It's no more something that is a should have, but a must have. So how do you navigate in this environment? The first thing we would say is make mental and physical wellness universal. So that's something that we have seen from the research that we have done. The most meaningful brands perform 39% better in inspiring me to take healthier approach to life. So, if you take that as a direction, you will obviously become more meaningful. 7 out of 10 people in the survey declare making real effort to be physically and mentally healthy. Again, coming out of the COVID, people have become very, very health conscious, and they are doing that. 69% feel that companies' brands should be doing more to improve and support people's health and well-being. All giving you a clear direction that physical wellness has to become universal. So if a brand, if physical wellness is something that is being communicated, that is important. Enable people to do and feel more. So this is the second, I would say, second directive that is coming out from the meaningful brand research. Because the people's expectation of brands, it's time to expand what benefits and the brands can give you. Because as people's life is also changing after the COVID, their expectations are also changing from the brand. The most meaningful brands, when it comes to that, they perform significantly better than the average brand in providing that creative spark. 41% inspires me with new ideas and possibilities. Now, they feel that the brand also needs to be creative. They feel that the brand should allow them to do more. And that's what essentially this says. On the personal part, they also say that, it should simplify my life. It should give me a good feeling. So these are some of the attributes that the consumers are talking about. The third tenet is that respect and celebrate difference. It's something that we all know is becoming important, and consumers are expecting the same from the brands. 7 out of 10 respondents agree it is important that we coexist harmoniously with different people around us. So if the brand communication, brand ethos, brand philosophy is also around this, your brand communication is also around this, they will latch onto it better. 4 out of 10 feel it is important for them to express their true thoughts and opinions. So, how things have changed over a period of time. Inclusivity has become absolutely necessary, and we are coexisting in a very, very diverse society, and that's what they expect the brands also to follow. So what is happening in the world, they also expect the brands to follow. Let the joy shine through. More brands through product messaging or activation are trying to inspire optimism, joy, and escapism to consumers as they grapple with uncertain times. That's a reality because there are uncertain times, but 75% of the people say they are optimistic about the future, which is a positive thing, you know. So if your brand is also giving an optimism to the consumer, then you know it is scoring on this specific aspect and connecting with them. Some of the attributes that they spoke about: helps me feel good about myself. This is important for them. Gives me a sense of happiness. Helps me feel energized and alive. So these are the aspects of the brand that they are interested in. Make it all super seamless. I think this is important. Life is very complicated. They want it to be seamless. Meaningful brands perform 31% better on CX, and you know my next panel is about consumer experiences only, and that's what is becoming absolutely important. Simple and easy purchase digital experiences. They don't have the time, they don't have the bandwidth, they don't have the energy. Respect my personal data, again becoming important, and now with you know the data bill passed, that's a different ball game altogether. Exclusive experience and individualization in an age of they want individualization and you know mass customization, as we call it, for them. So you know they should not feel that this communication or this brand is for everybody. It is for me. So that's, but at the same time they want it absolutely seamless. Unlock accessibility, affordability is a new inclusion. So affordability is still important, but at the same time they're ready to pay for brands which are ethically doing well. So here 36%, sorry, I think I'm running out of time. The seventh one is become a platform, enable people to make purpose personal. 6 out of 10 people, according to our study, are being the change that they want to see in the world. So they are starting from themselves. So that's where, or that's why we say that purpose is turning inwards. They want to, you know, as they say that charity starts at home, they are turning inwards. They want to start with themselves. If they feel that environment is an important thing, they are starting to do small things in their own right towards you know improving the environment, and then they are expecting the brands also to do the same. Do good without drama. As they say, don't carry a camera when you are doing any charity, and that's what they expect the brands also to do. So this is something that I had to share with you. So welcome to Me-conomy. Please you can go out and you know download the entire report, and any questions? I don't think I have the time, but I'm around. We can chat on this later. Thank you very much.